Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how's it going over there?
Hey, super, how are you?
Fantabulous. We are one day away from the weekend, and I'm excited because you know what I have planned for this weekend?
Nothing?
Nothing, and I'm excited about that. Actually, your cousin Andy is going to be in town.
Yeah, Andy is coming.
Nothing other than that, and then we got church on Sunday. But other than that, I would be in my pajamas all weekend if I could. We've been running like all summer. We've had stuff going on, and I'm excited to just sit back and relax and enjoy. It's going to be fun. Hey, coming up later on the program, we have CristenOKeefeAptowicz, and she's the author of Dr. Mooter's Marvels, and we've got a copy of the book. It's actually a pretty cool book. You were flipping through this thing. What did you think of it?
It's neat looking, yeah. There's
some really interesting images. It's about a doctor from back in the 1800s that was like, I guess, America's first plastic surgeon. So some of the things that he did were groundbreaking, made a difference in medical history forever. So be listening for that interview coming up later in the program. And listen to this. A study says Americans are sleeping less. Millions are turning to strong nighttime remedies to make them nod off, things like Ambien and Lunesta. What do you use to fall asleep, Heidi?
Valium.
I thought you were going to say tequila.
No, I'm on Valium right now to be able to sleep.
I can tell you, for you, tequila works really well as well. So.
I know, I'm not a tequila drinker.
I know you're not, because when you take one sip, you're out like a light. Like, well, the night is over, and it's only 4 p.m. All right, coming up, we've got some fun stuff to chat about. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. Listen to this. This is something that's interesting. Do we have the Gettysburg Address on the wall? It's right over there. Yeah,
yes, we do.
We have a copy of that. My wife here is very patriotic, and most people, when they say the Gettysburg Address, they misquote Lincoln. For whatever reason, they say, 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth. That's not what he said. He said our fathers, not our forefathers. Our forefathers. I wonder why people say that. Who has forefathers? Well, nowadays, I guess. Yeah, but back then, that was very unusual. So for whatever reason, that's been floating around on the internet, and people are correcting people, and others are saying, no, it was forefathers. But it is, and I looked, it says fathers, not forefathers. So there you go. And that's in his own handwriting.
It is.
Where'd you get that? Is that the actual Gettysburg Address?
It is not.
Oh, okay. It's a replica?
It is not.
All right. Well, I thought maybe we had something priceless here. Coming up, we're going to talk about something amazing that's happening on the side of the road in Arizona, and people are calling 911 because of it. We'll tell you all about that on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Take a listen to this. Some folks in Arizona are calling 911 because of a drive-through prayer booth. What? You ever heard of such a thing?
No.
Sun Valley, Arizona, 38-year-old Matthew Cordell says it wasn't his idea, it was God's idea. What we're talking about is a new drive-through prayer stand on Hunt Highway. He's there from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. most Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and people stop by to make a request for him to pray for things like healing of ailments or safety of children going to college for the first time. Listen to this. One woman pulled over on her way to an urgent care hospital. She was having chest pains.
Oh.
She and Cordell prayed. The pains subsided with prayer, and she went home. She didn't have to move on. In another instance, there was a man with severe brain injury. He began improving following his intercession with this guy at the prayer booth. The only problem is the prayer stand has become so popular that it's causing traffic problems. And there are people that are on the road going, okay, what's going on ahead? And that's why they're calling 911. They're like, hey, can you tell this Yahoo to quit doing this? Here's the thing, though. The county is cracking down on roadside vendors, but they're not sure what to do because he doesn't fall under that category.
Right, he's not selling
anything. He's not selling anything. You know, he's not trying to get you to do anything. He's not asking for money. He's not even accepting money. What he's doing is not illegal. So what he's doing is, causing quite the commotion there. I think what he should do is maybe go a little further off the road so people don't have traffic problems. Because what he's doing is really a cool thing.
It is a cool thing.
And it's neat that he's doing that. But here's the other thing, folks, and I'm sure he would say this too. The guy's name is Matthew Cordell. There's nothing special about him doing it. You could do this on your own. I'm just saying, I'm sure he would admit that too, that, hey, it's not me praying. It's just the fact that he's praying. So you don't need to pull over to do that. There are a lot of times that I drive while I'm praying, especially when there's a lot of traffic. All right. That's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. You ever wonder why airlines ask you questions like, did somebody else pack your bags for you? Or are you carrying illegal substances? You think anyone's ever going to say yes?
Yeah, nobody's going to be honest.
Well, a Spanish drug smuggler recently had a Freudian slip. He had a Freudian slip when he was going through customs. The customs agent was asking routine questions to Jose Antonio. And he said, are you carrying any prohibitive goods? Without thinking, he said, yes. They found out he was 1.4 kilos of cocaine.
Whoa!
Yeah. So they're like, you got any illegal substances? Yep. I mean, no. What did I say the first time? I meant no. I had a French slip. Oh, no, that is a Freudian slip.
Funny.
So there you go. Yeah. At least he's an honest drug smuggler. You got that going for you. So
it's quite the name. Isn't that like a mixture of Hispanic and Italian?
Jose Antonio? I don't know. That's a cool name. I like it. Sounds like he should be a movie star.
Yeah.
Starring Jose Antonio, the honest smuggler, coming to theaters near you. Coming up, we have your moment of duh.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
And this is your moment of duh. Sometimes you don't really need to call 911 to know that something is dangerous. A guy called 911 recently with the most peculiar feeling. He said, I went out to dinner and I brought home my leftover pizza, he told the dispatcher, but I left it in the car, and this morning it was soggy. It tasted kind of funny, so I went back out to the car and noticed that the antifreeze spilled onto my pizza. Is that dangerous?
Oh,
yeah?
My gosh.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Don't eat soggy pizza that's been covered in antifreeze. Why did he
tasted funny, so he did eat it.
Yeah, he had some pizza that had been sitting in antifreeze overnight. So you don't
First of all, you wouldn't have eaten it if he even just sat in the car.
No.
You would have thrown it away.
I don't do that.
I would have eaten it if it sat in the car.
I know you would have. We had people over and went to bed early, and there was like a box of pizza sitting out, and like the next day, it's been sitting out all night long. Next day, we're tidying things up, and Heidi takes a bite of the pizza. I'm like, are you crazy?
It's breakfast pizza.
That is disgusting.
It is not either.
It wasn't in the fridge overnight. That is
fine.
dangerous.
It's fine.
Well, I watched...
People do that all the time. Didn't you ever stay in hotels and you'd order pizza, and then in the morning that's what you had for breakfast? And
Look at me. Do you think there's ever leftovers? No, it's never happened. All right, we've got your scoop of the day coming your way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your Scoop of the Day. Everybody's favorite newsman, Brian Williams. Because, not only does he tell the news, but he embellishes and makes it fun. He's now got his new gig. He's been demoted for embellishing stories about his reporting experiences. This is when he was with NBC Nightly News. Now he's returning on September 22nd. When is that? That's coming up. Is that next week?
Yeah.
Where's the calendar? That's
it's next week. Next Tuesday.
So it's like not even a whole week away. He's going to be back with his new role as live breaking news anchor for MSNBC, like the 7th-rated network news channel. Maybe not that. Let's see. There's Fox News, and then there's CNN, then there's CNN Headline, and then probably those guys. So they're probably 4th-rated. You think?
I don't know.
Is there another one in there?
I think CNN has even slipped a
I don't
little
know.
bit. So
anyway, I can tell you, from going from the NBC Nightly News desk to a live breaking reporter for MSNBC.
Hey, at least somebody was still willing to hire him. That's nice.
Because he had a contract. It's not that anyone was willing to hire him.
Oh.
They were not willing to fire him and give him the money because he was going to get paid either way. So they're like, you know what? You're the live breaking news anchor. Next time some really big stuff's going down, we're sending you there.
I mean, wouldn't you think that would have broken his contract, lying on national television? That
probably
should
not
have
in the
voided
contract.
his contract.
I bet they're going to put that in the contract in the future. Hey, Britain's Queen Elizabeth broke a record last week, becoming England's longest-serving monarch. Her Highness surpassed the reign of her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria, having spent over 63 years thus far in power. So a little clap there for the Queen. I didn't vote for her. Little Monty Python humor for you. In an appearance Thursday of last week on The Ellen Show, Hillary Clinton joined Ellen for some onstage bowling. The former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State hit 0 pins on her first toss, then knocked one down on her second toss. So she didn't do too hot on bowling. So I see you smiling over there. I'm going to just move right on.
I have a really funny.
I know you do. You tell me afterwards. Now, to give them equal time, let's talk about Trump. He's in some hot water after following a quote in Rolling Stone regarding his Republican opponent. He said, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? He was talking about Carly Fiorina. I can't even say it right. Anyway, he's in a little hot water over that. And then people were, jabbing him back saying, look at his hair. Would anybody vote for that?
He's got quite a following. I just saw a photo from his, where was he? I can't
there's
remember.
thousands
Florida.
of people.
Oh my gosh, it was a huge rally.
This is amazing to me. When you think about this, November will be here soon, but it's next November. So it's over a year. How early are we going to start running for president now? This is just crazy to me. We shouldn't even be talking about this until next year.
I wish it was this November.
In an intriguing study, researchers have isolated biological markers that appear to predict who is most likely to catch a cold. The proactive finding is a way, this is a thing that is a very stable marker of disease susceptibility that begins to emerge in early adulthood. So this is a thing where they're saying, hey, we can help you, fix that cold. Now, if you could work on to, I don't know, cancer, AIDS.
Yeah, exactly. Something that
fine
sticks
with
around
the cold.
for more than
I'm okay
24
with the cold.
hours.
Forget about hours on the treadmill. A small study suggests that you're healthier if you spend your time taking long, slow walks and standing instead of sitting whenever possible. We should both stand up right now.
We put in a stand-up desk so that we'd be standing, and now we're sitting down.
Might sound too good to be true, but researchers have found that it may be more important to reduce your hours sitting than it is to exercise vigorously, according to the study published in PLOS1, PLOS One, I don't know what that is. In fact, when volunteers spent 2 hours standing and 4 hours walking each day, they had healthier insulin levels and lower triglyceride levels than people who spent an hour at the gym every day cycling. So there you go. It's actually healthier for you. You are standing up. It's like, I'm going to slide my stool back right now. Hopefully
I was standing the whole time.
Sure you were. Animal researchers say elephants have self-awareness like humans after an elephant proved that she recognized herself in a mirror.
Oh, fun.
There you go. That's cool. Elephants.
I love elephants.
I was waiting for you to say that. And finally, your strange law. In Tennessee, it is illegal to lasso a fish. So,
I would love to see that.
I would too. It's illegal in Tennessee, but it is impressive everywhere.
That's gotta be hard.
How would you lasso
Wouldn't
a fish?
you mostly just kind of be whipping the water?
Pretty much.
How would I don't think the lasso would even go into the water to get to a fish.
Somehow someone did it and they made it illegal. So
that is fascinating.
Don't try that in Tennessee. There's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. We have a fun guest today, New York Times bestselling author KristenOKeefeAptowicz, and we're going to be visiting about her book, Dr. Mooter's Marvels, a true tale of intrigue and innovation at the dawn of modern medicine. Kristen, how you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for speaking with me, John.
Well, I'm holding a copy of the book here right now, Dr. Mooter's Marvels. Now, what was the inspiration for this? What made you decide, hey, I need to write a book about Dr. Mooter?
Well, I was born and raised in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is the home of the infamous Mutter Museum, which is a museum of 19th century medical oddities. And when you grew up in Philly, visiting the Mutter Museum was always a rite of passage for any kid. You know, you would hear about it when you were in the first and second grade. Oh, there's this museum, and there's jars of body parts and conjoined twin skeletons and women with horn growing from their heads. And, you know, it would be this, you know, horror story that would be passed around. But eventually you would go, and it was as advertised, pretty shocking stuff. But it was a science museum, and it used what was abnormal to interest kids in learning more about the human body and about the evolution of medicine, particularly American medicine. And it was fascinating. And it wasn't until I left for college that I realized not everyone grew up with a medical oddity science museum in their childhood. And people would ask me, what is the deal with that museum? Like, why does it exist? And I realized that as much as I had gone there, I didn't really understand that, you know, the answer to that question. I didn't know if Mutter was a man or a family or an acronym. And so when I had an opportunity to earn a scholarship by telling the story of a scientific life of a scientist or a scientific discovery, I thought maybe there's a story with the Mutter Museum. And I went to the Mutter Museum archives on my winter break to first research it, and that was 15 years ago, this upcoming December. So it took that long from the moment I first walked into the archive to begin researching Mutter to when the book came out last fall in hardcover. So it was a very long journey of researching and writing, but I was thrilled at the response it received. To be on the New York Times bestseller list for 3 months was beyond my wildest expectations for this story. But it thrills me to know that people are fascinated and interested in Mutter and his time as much as I was in researching and writing it. So I'm really happy to be back out on the road again and talking to people like you with the paperback coming out last week.
That's really cool. Now, Dr. Thomas Dent Mutter was a real person from back in the 1800s, and he made some advancements in medicine and was kind of a man ahead of his time, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah, he was one of America's earliest plastic surgeons. The work he did, we would probably now categorize as reconstructive surgery. He specialized on, on healing and recreating the faces and bodies of the severely deformed in a time before anesthesia. So all of his patients were awake during his surgeries, which was pretty intense. But unfortunately, that's what life was like before ether anesthesia was discovered in 1846. So back then, when surgeries were performed, they literally hired men to hold the patient down on the table, both to keep the patient still during the surgery, but mostly to prevent the patient from getting up and running out of the room, which I know would be my instinct if someone began fishing around my body with a knife while I was still awake. But that was all they knew back then. And Mutter himself, his entire family died before the age of 8. His grandparents and parents and siblings. And he himself, was very sick. This was actually very common during a time when they didn't understand how diseases were transmitted. Germ theory wouldn't be proven until the 1890s at the invention of the modern microscope. So, back then diseases would enter, towns, like yellow fever or cholera, tuberculosis, or even the flu, and kill entire families, sometimes entire neighborhoods, because they didn't understand how it was spread. Mutter survived, was the one family member that survived, but was sick throughout his entire childhood, pretty much all of his life. But during his childhood and adolescence, he was on the patient side of the patient-doctor relationship so often that I think it really gave him a deep appreciation of what he would want to be if he lived long enough to become a doctor. And that really inspired his humanist philosophies towards being a physician, which are reflected in both his surgeries, his approaches to surgery with a focus on preoperative and postoperative care, both unheard of in 19th century medicine, and also in his philosophies as a professor. He really taught his students to see patients as human beings, deserving of education and clarity, to be partners in their good health instead of being problems that they have to solve or cases that they need to have cured, which was definitely the philosophy of 19th century medicine. And watching that evolution and how hard people fought against him was what made research for Dr. Mutter's marvels such a pleasure. It was such a wild, wild west time for American medicine, and Mutter was right there in the middle of it.
When you think about medicine at that time, they were using leeches to clean the blood
blood. They wouldn't even sterilize their instruments. It's amazing we didn't lose more people, and I know we lost plenty, but it's amazing we didn't lose even more. So what years did Dr. Mutter actually serve as a doctor?
He got his doctoral degree when he was 21, so in the 1830s, and he lived until 1859. He was a professor at Jefferson, which was one of the premier medical institutions in the country, sort of the cutting-edge vanguard medical institutions, the first one to institute surgical clinics. Prior to that, when you taught surgery, it was just a man lecturing at you. But George McClellan, whose name might sound familiar for Civil War buffs, his son, also named George McClellan, would become Union General. But George McClellan Sr. was founded Jefferson, and he essentially created the concept of surgical clinics, that surgical students would watch their professors perform surgeries live in surgical theaters to understand how to do these surgeries the best possible way, and also learn how to interact with their patients. And that's what Mutter served as, chair of surgery. That was a revolutionary idea at that time in medicine, and Mutter would continue to push the envelope of what was possible and what should be expected of a surgeon in the 19th century. And it was a real fascinating joy, but a real, cringing thing. I mean, so much stuff of 19th century medicine, thank God, we don't face today. In fact, the book has over 80 illustrations, and all of the patients that you see, there's these really intricately done engravings of these deformed people. They're all patients of Mutter's. And if you imagine being in a time when there was no electricity, when you didn't have microscopes or syringes or let alone ether anesthesia to perform these surgeries, and we're faced with these people, the work that he did was even more incredible. And it's really interesting to see their faces transform throughout the book as his surgeries become, more and more unique and idiosyncratic, and he perfected his technique.
Well, thank you so much for putting this book together. And speaking of the illustrations, you've got a bunch of illustrations in here, a lot of photos, a lot of illustrations, and that with the cover, an amazing cover, absolutely awesome. But it pulls it all together, a great story, great illustrations from cover to cover, just really, really cool.
Well, thanks so much. And it's available now in paperback, just released last week. So feel free to pick it up at your local brick-and-mortar bookstore, or you can get it at Amazon. It is available as an ebook as well.
Kristen, thanks again for visiting with us about your book today.
Thanks, John. It was wonderful speaking with you.
Again, the book is called Dr. Mutter's Marvels, and you can find that wherever you like to buy books. It's also available on all the online sources as well. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Thursday, the 17th day of September, which makes today Citizenship Day. That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's also Constitution Day.
That's very cool.
It's also International Country Music Day. It's RAIN Day as well, which stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network Day. Well, it's not a day to celebrate those things. It's a day to celebrate the people who help victims of those things. I want to make sure we clear that up. Don't go out by celebrating by... No, it's VFW Ladies Auxiliary Day, and it's Time's Up Day. So we got all those things going for us. Get out there and celebrate. I think we should celebrate our citizenship today, Heidi, by doing something that you can do as a citizen. Have free speech. I'm going to give you a moment right now to say whatever you want to say off the air.
I was excited for a second.
Thanks for listening on a Thursday, the 17th day of September.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
College students and credit card debt. That's what we're going to talk about. For college students, applying for a credit card to get a free T-shirt or another perk might seem harmless, but poorly managed finances during those college years can lead to some bad credit scores a year or two later, Heidi. Recent survey by TrueCredit.com found that nearly 1 in 4 respondents left school with more than $5,000 in credit card debt. In fact, 10% indicated they owed more than $10,000 on credit cards. The survey also revealed that 40% signed up for a credit card to get the free gift or the special offer.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Well, they
Sign up
stand
now.
around on the
yeah.
campus, when kids are enrolling and when they're showing up for the first day, and they hand out those applications like crazy.
More than half of the people who left college with credit card debt, more than half of those people, rather, left college with credit card debt. According to an 2007 study by student loan provider Nellie Mae. Is that a thing? I thought it was Fannie Mae. Oh, Nellie Mae must be a student loan one. Okay, anyway. They say the average credit card debt for college students is $2,478. For a person that makes minimum payments, it would take 18 years to pay that off, and they'd pay an additional $2,500 in interest. So that is just crazy. So kids, do what Uncle John does. Don't spend money
use credit
unless
cards.
you have it.
Exactly.
And I have none, so that's why I don't really spend a lot. So, no, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And if you just do simple arithmetic, get the compound interest working for you instead of against you. Save a little money and have money working for you instead of against you. That's a whole lot better.
Or just use a debit card.
Yeah,
if you want a card to use a debit card. That way you're not spending it if you don't have it.
And that's exactly what I do. How many credit cards do I have, Heidi?
We have 0.
And how many offers do I get in the mail for those things?
We get offers every
all the time.
day.
I mean, we threw away, I think, 4 of them today.
Just from, yep.
It was the mail from yesterday, but we threw them away today. So it's just crazy how many offers we get, and we don't want it. I don't want your credit cards. I don't want them. So kids, steer clear of that stuff. Coming up, we got a job search tip. That's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Here's a surefire way not to get hired for your next job interview. An employment agency says somebody that maybe is like job hunting, some of those people are not all that bright. The man has evidence to prove his opinion on this. He says a truck driver said he could drive a truck as long as it was not orange. Steve McMahon, a manager with an employment agency, says silly answers like this could stop you from getting a job. Another candidate gave a window cleaner as his reference, but when asked for a contact number, he said, oh, he died. A woman said that she left her previous job because her boss could not date her. A woman who got a job through this company later complained about the production line position, saying his duties included juggling, standing on my head, and knitting fog. Mr. McMahon said these answers are certainly not a good way to get a job.
Oh, no.
So when they're talking about what you have to do is, it's just a bunch of nonsense, juggling, standing on my head, and knitting fog. Really? That's what you did there? You might be embellishing a bit.
Yeah.
So they're saying if you want to get a job, maybe you don't complain about the last job. This is what they're saying. Coming up, we're going to talk about smartphones. We got those, but how about a smart toilet? That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Some things make so much sense, and there's other things I just don't get. There's a Japanese firm named Mashuta Electric. They invented a toilet that can change your life every time you use it. It can analyze what you've been eating and tell you about dietary changes.
Oh, my gosh.
Not only this, but the information can be transmitted to your doctor, too. It also measures your body weight, your body fat, and sugar levels in your urine. It provides an instant readout from a mini computer. Plus, the optional lifestyle pack will provide other features like a warning system that asks, did you forget to flush? A device that deters your dog from drinking out of the bowl, and reminder not to waste too much toilet paper. It's a massive success right now in Japan, and they have plans to roll it out in Europe. No word whether or not it's going to ever come to the United States. But would you want a toilet like that?
It's a nagging toilet.
It's a toilet.
Who would want a nagging toilet? It's the only place I can go to get any peace and quiet.
Heidi, you've been drinking too much again, haven't you? John, you need way more water. You need to drink more water. Toilet, you better be quiet or I'm going to pee on you. Oh, I guess I already did. That's a smart toilet coming to you sometime soon. If you want one, check it out. Mashuta Electric is the name of the company. Coming up, if you're feeling stressed, maybe you should have a cup of tea. We'll tell you why.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1 plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Heidi, do you ever feel stressed?
Every day of my life.
She always feels stressed. I mean, listen to this, folks. She's married to me. I mean, enough said right there, isn't it? Researchers from the University College of London say that having a cup of tea can help speed recovery from stress. Men who have black tea 4 times a day or 4 times a day, for 6 weeks. Wow, that's a long time. It's a lot of tea. They were found to have lower levels of stress hormone called cortisol than a group of men who had a fake tea substitute. The tea drinkers also... Wait a minute.
What's a fake tea substitute?
Can I have some tea? Wait a minute. What is this? This is not tea.
Your smart toilet would catch that in a second.
Oh, it's tea. No, this is a fake tea substitute. Looks like a tea, but it's not tea. All right. The tea drinkers also reported a greater feeling of relaxation after performing tasks designed to raise stress levels. While the tea won't help you avoid stress, it will relax you more quickly after you are stressed out. It could be good to know because slow recovery following acute stress has been associated with a greater risk of chronic illness, such as coronary heart disease. Yeah. So they're saying if you are stressed quite often, maybe you should have a cup of tea. Heidi.
You should have 4 cups of tea every single day
for 6 weeks. Well, they're saying
I'd be stressed about not getting enough tea. That just creates a whole new level of problems.
What's wrong? You're all jittery. Yeah, I can't get any sleep. Drinking too much tea. At least I'm healthy. All right, coming up here in a bit, we've got some fun stuff to share. Going to talk about a hero on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to save some positive news for the end, and I always like to find some really happy, fun-filled story. And I wanted to share this one today because recently we've talked about heroes quite a bit, haven't we?
Yes.
We've talked about stories of soldiers who were heroes. We talked about a guy who he was in the military and went to Katrina, 10 years ago and saved a young girl and was wondering whatever happened to her. So that was a hero we talked about. We've talked about policemen that were heroes. We've talked about firefighters that were heroes. But let's talk about a hero that maybe looks and sounds a lot different than all those other heroes. Oh, we also talked about the oldest EMT driver.
Yes, we did.
That was another hero we talked about. But in our segment here with good news, we've got a different hero. She is 5 years old.
Aww.
A 5-year-old girl became a hero to her family after she helped her twin brother fight an aggressive form of leukemia by selflessly donating her stem cells to him. Back in January, her family approached Charlie about donating her stem cells to her brother. They say she didn't understand the whole medical process, but what she did understand was that she wanted to help her brother. Her words were, "Yeah, just let me know when you need me." Surgery took place February 17th, but the family is publicly speaking now because Bradley's cancer is in remission, and the twins recently started kindergarten. So she stepped up to the plate and helped out, and her brother's cancer is in remission. Isn't that really cool that she was able to help with that? There's a story. I remember reading a story about this kid who was going to give bone marrow to his sibling, and a young kid that didn't quite understand what he was doing, but just knew that he was going to help his sister. So when he was in the hospital and getting everything ready, he was hooked up to the machine, getting ready for the anesthesia, and he said, "How will I die right away?" And the doctor said, "What do you mean, will you die right away?" And he said, "Well, I know that I'm giving my life to save my sister, but will I die right away, or how long will I live?" And he said, "You're not going to die." But the kid went in there thinking, "I'm going to give my life so my sister can live," and he still did it. That was such an amazing story. So I just think it's so cool when you see kids like this. This is a 5-year-old girl who donated stem cells so her brother could live. I just think that's really a neat thing, and it's amazing to me that a little 5-year-old can step up to the plate and say, "You know what? Whatever you need, you just tell me. I'll do it. I'll help." If you want to see the entire story, I've got a link at our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I got to make sure I say show. I forgot that. And there's a whole different page. And I feel so sorry for that couple. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Go check it out. If you want to see the entire story, you can check it out on our Facebook page. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Thanks for listening. You're just quiet over there. What's going on?
Nothing.
You don't want to talk about stem cells?
I'm not going to say that. There's no way a 5-year-old girl could have known what she was getting into. There's no way. So that had to have been some coercion on the parents' part. You can't tell me a 5-year-old girl would know she was going into a surgery and she was going to have pain and she was going to do all this. It's one thing to think you're going to give something to your brother, share with your brother, but there's no way they explained to her it's going to hurt and it's going to be this and it's going to be this, because
they probably did.
I don't know.
Right. Well, we'll try it again.
I have a problem with it.
If you'd like to see the full story, you can check that out on our Facebook page. There's a link there. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more on their website, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's a really cool way to save time and save money, and you get razors delivered right to your door. So it's really simple, it's really easy, and it's really affordable. So it's a great way to shave. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. Take a listen to this. I wanted to save this until we were off the radio in case you had to scream some obscenities.
Okay.
But please try not to. Here's something that's totally outrageous. Trying to get into the U.S. illegally and then blaming the U.S. when you get hurt doing it.
Yeah.
Trying desperately to avoid detection, some illegal immigrants from Mexico chose to enter the United States through a desolate mountain desert area east of Yuma, Arizona. However, during May of 2001, 14 of them died in the blistering sun from dehydration. So, because they live in the U.S. now and not in Mexico, their families have filed a $42 million lawsuit in Tucson against the U.S. Interior Department for failing to install water stations in the mountains.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. There you go. So that's what happened.
If they win?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I figured you'd probably freak out about that. So, hey, archaeologists say they found the buried remains of a mysterious monument close to the famous Stonehenge in Britain. Stonehenge. Yeah, I said that kind of funny, didn't I?
Yeah.
Stonehenge? Is that what I called it? It's like they were just trimming the hedges. That's a Stonehenge. Although that would be a cool way to plant some hedges and then trim them like Stonehenge. I want to do that now.
Oh, my God.
That would be really cool.
Anyway,
I wonder if anyone's done it. I have to Google it. Britain's famous Stonehenge, they've got this thing. It says up to 90 standing stones, some originally measuring 15 feet, dating back 4,500 years, were buried under a bank of earth. The discovery was made in Durrington Walls, a so-called superhenge, located less than 2 miles from Stonehenge, thanks to high-tech sensors. So they're saying that it's something that is actually bigger than Stonehenge, but it was buried. It's a superhenge.
Have they started to dig it up?
Well, I'll take a look and see if there's a little more detail. And I'll share this on our Facebook page, too, since I'm going on there. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show if you want to go check it out. But I'll click on here and see if there's I don't know if it's unearthed. So it says, giant ancient ruins discovered near Stonehenge. Doesn't look like, I don't know. What I'm looking at, I think, is Stonehenge. So I don't know. I'll let you look at it. Maybe I should have done this before I got on here. Yeah, because here it says an artist's impression. So it's just an artist's impression. So it must all still be buried. So there you go. Yeah, that's Stonehenge. Now I'm gonna Google Stonehenge to see if we can.
Oh my gosh.
Should I do that later?
Yeah, probably
all right.
later.
Well, we'll
Let's
get back to our
up.
bonus break then. How about we start right here? Zachary Williams, 18, was robbed in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He tried to run away and was shot to death. One of the things the robber stole was his pager. Police, upon learning about the beeper, figured, why not? Let's send it a page and see what happens. When the murderer returned the call, it was traced to George Morgan,
oh my God.
yeah, 19, and his cousin Antonio Morgan, 18. They were arrested and charged with murder. So if you steal someone's pager and you get a page from 911, don't call that number.
Oh my gosh.
What an idiot. And when all else fails, blame your lawyer. That's the philosophy of Philip Butler, who was found guilty of bribery. The odd thing is, Butler is a lawyer and represented himself in the case. The West Palm Beach, Florida defense attorney was charged with taking more than $500,000 in bribes from his family a family that he was representing. Instead of hiring a lawyer to defend himself in his own case, Butler decided to represent himself. And fortunately for him, he did a lousy job and lost the case. But the lawyer that he is, he decided to appeal the decision by blaming his lawyer.
Gosh.
He appealed his felony conviction, arguing that he failed to tell himself about the danger of waiving competent counsel. Well, I guess that appeal did prove that he didn't have competent counsel. He's now attempting to bribe himself to stay out of jail, apparently. So, didn't work out so hot for that guy. All right, that's going to do it for your bonus break. If you'd like to learn more about Dollar Shave Club, go to their website, dollarshaveclub.com/radio.